Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're back with more Katawa Shoujo. On the last episode of Dragon Ball Z, we went on a date with Hanako. Oh, right, okay. We just left the librarian with Hanako, and we woke up. Chirping birds. Normally, this would be a good time to reflect upon the beauty of nature, but it is 6 a.m. Covering my head with the pillow, I slam my face into the mattress, hoping the impact will send me instantly back to sleep. Futile. I toss and turn, but sleep simply won't return to me. All right, nature, you've won. See, I'm getting up now. The lack of sleep weighs my mind down, and there's only one remedy for this: a nice, hearty breakfast. It would be nice to be the first person here, to be the first to dig into a piping hot pile of food, to sit down wherever I desire. It would have been nice, but even my exceptionally early start has put me behind the most diligent students. I guess there are quite a few people that are early starts here for one reason or another. A group of students in sports clothes huddle around one table, eagerly deciding game plans in between inhaling great gulps of food. Scattered around the hall are a number of bleary-eyed students, probably suffering from the same ailment myself. Noisy birds. Are the birds really that noisy at this school? Jeez, man. Of course, there are people that actually enjoy getting up this early. The ones with their bags stuffed with textbooks and completed homeworks. Nerds. It's hard not to despise people like that. Even more so when you're tired yourself. Picking out a familiar face from the thin crowd, I head towards the nearest table. Lily sits alone, delicately feeling her way around a small pile of eggs with her fork. It's almost a shame to interrupt her and her clockwork. Oh man, I keep clicking off there and my music keeps stopping. I wonder if this is how a blind person zones out, simply moving in predetermined patterns learned over the years, just like how a sighted person would eat while reading a newspaper. Good morning. I didn't expect you to be this early. Yeah, we're Hanako still. Oh, his Sally startled me. I didn't know you took breakfast this early. I don't. This is an exception to the rule. I greatly prefer to be late to school than early to breakfast. Lily gives a small sigh to my admitted tardiness as I begin eating my food. It doesn't take long for her to lapse back into her previous mindless nibbling. Each short motion lacks energy. I suppose this is similar to letting your eyes wander around while performing any ordinary chore. But after a few repetitions of the eat food cycle, Lily puts down her fork and dabs her lips with a napkin. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Do you mind if I ask you a question? Damn, all I want is a little food and about 4 hours of sleep, and no one says, can I ask you a question for a simple question? Sure. Do you think a Hanako is a friend? Seems like a leading question. I guess, why do you ask? No real reason. I do have another question, though. Why is it that you think of her as a friend? Well, this is above my level. What is she expecting from me? I'm not really sure. I guess it's because she's a little different in the way she deals with people. Since I've known her, she hasn't really connected with anyone. She doesn't seem interested in other people, and I think people are a little scared by her appearance. Really? I thought this kind of thing was, well, discouraged here, discriminating and whatnot. If I were to put it one way, she furrows her brow in thought, a move that makes me slightly anxious as to what she's plucking with her mind. I'd say you're a little naive. Naive? I'd be insulted if not for the slightly cynical grin on her face. I see. While Yamaku has a stronger sense of community compared to other schools, it's far from being free of conflict. Rules cannot remove human nature, after all, only suppress it. That's something I've noticed, actually. But just little things, like how certain people and cliques avoid each other in the hallways, it's no different than my old school, really. Even Lily and Shizune could be considered bitter rivals, even though they both seem like fairly accepting people. Well, at least the Misha tinted Shizune does. Who knows what actually goes on with her fingers and behind her glasses. Nice. I guess you're right. When I first came here, everything was a bit of a shock. I kept on making mistakes, or at least thinking I was making mistakes. Like when we first met, I said, I see to you. Oh no. I don't know if that was considered rude or anything, so I just tried to put it in the back of my mind, treating people any differently and that kind of thing. So I didn't. I told myself that Hanako and you and everyone else were just normal, and I tried to ignore the obvious. I talked to Hanako as if she were any other person. We became friends. At least that's how I think it happened. But, I feel guilty just for saying something like that aloud, as if it took extra effort to think of Hanako or you or anyone else here as normal people. I don't think that's right. Hisao, I think you are naive, but I also think you're a good person. It is perhaps one of your better traits. I think I can take that as a compliment. Tell me, are you free tonight? Oh, we're gonna bang Lily. She's gonna make sure we're good enough to bang Hanako. If you don't count homework, then I'm as free as the breeze. In that case, would you care to join myself and Hanako for tea? Yeah. I don't have that much money at the moment, so going out isn't really... Oh, just here, this evening. You can access the classrooms in the evening? No, that's not what I meant. Hanako and I often use my room for tea parties. Girl rooms? Oh, girl rooms? Sure, I see no problem with that. What's your room number? 225, room 25, on the second floor. Isn't 225 the room number? Isn't that what... Sure. Okay, sure. Well then, I'd best be off. I have class representative duties to attend to after all. Until this evening, Hisao. Catch you later. Smell you later, Ash. Hang on, was I just invited to a girls' room after hours? There is a curfew here, but I've never heard any rules about visitors in the dorm rooms. Even so, this is enough to get my sleep-deprived brain jump-started. Add that to a lukewarm breakfast and you have one hell of a pick-me-up. I grudgingly go to class, still a little excited at the prospect of breaking the rules. I feel a little like a kid planning to sneak out of his window at night. Well, maybe it's going a little too far, but when you compare an invitation to a party to 6 or so hours of lectures, I know which one wins. Misha and Shizune do little to relieve my boredom either. For once, they seem determined to actually complete Muto's assignments. But they like always complete his assignments. The day eventually winds to a close. I hurry back to my room to wash up and comb my hair. Thankfully, I do not run into Kenji. I agree. I leave the boys' room. Dorm. I nervously rap on the door marked 225, checking my watch once again. Is that you, Hisao? The door is open. You can come in. Lily's voice lilts through the door and soothes my nerves. This is the first time I've ever been invited to a girls' room after dark. Even though I know there's no ulterior motive behind this invitation, it doesn't stop my mind running wild with possibilities. One guy, 2 girls, in a dorm room with a tea set. Ooh. When I put it like that, it sounds a little dodgy. That tea set is what really makes it. I mean, like, 1 guy, 2 girls, dorm room, that's fine. Tea set, not safe for work. Giving me a small sign to steady myself, I gingerly put my hand on the handle and open the door, craning my head to see inside. Aw, look, casual clothes. The door opens completely and I catch my first glimpse of Lily's room. Her furniture looks almost antique, but the bare walls and flat surfaces are barely decorated at all. In the center of the room sits a low table, where I see a small tea set at rest. It seems that everything in this room has its place, possibly excepting the several piles of books stacked up against the wall. My sense of vision isn't the only one to be stimulated. The faint smell of something can be picked up in the air. Nail polish, perfume, makeup. It's hard to describe in any other way other than girly. We did knock, and they let us in for Alikiri Desu. Jesus. We are going to at least do Lily and Hanako. We're not doing Rin. We're at least doing Lily Hanako for sure, though. My eyes finished their quick sweep of the room before returning to the girls. Woo! Lily sits next to the small table wearing very dark blue pajamas with shorts that show off plenty of her alluring pale legs. Opposite her, Hanako sits adorned in a conservative light pink gown. Her hands are firmly fixed between her legs. I wish to be those hands. Her shoulders forward and her head down as if trying to hide herself in it. It would be easy for her to do so. It looks about 2 sizes too big for her. It's like navy blue. Okay. Dark navy blue. Waves of flannel flow from her frame, making her look like a child playing dress up in her parents' clothes. She looks up to confirm my identity, and the beginnings of a thin smile creep across her face, before vanishing so fast I can't be sure it was ever even there. There's no point in you standing in the doorway, Hisao. I take a step in the room, closing the door behind me. Aww, you look so cute. I'm ready for this 3-way. My, I'm afraid this really is a small room with the 3 of us. Would you like to take a seat? I slowly walk to the table and sit down, trying my hardest not to disturb anything along the way. I also can't help but steal a quick glance into Lily's top as I sit. That boy, man. To be robbed of sight would be a most terrible fate. Well now, how about some tea? Hanako, could you please pour? Sure. Hisao, would you like a piece of me? I would love some tea. Do you need a hand? No, I'm fine. Lily, I've been in the room for 10 minutes, Lily. Thank you. Lily finds it difficult to resist a smile at her companion's nervousness, something I can't really blame her for. Been a tiring day? Yeah. I relax at my place, opposite of the cabinet. To my left is a blue-clad Lily, and to my right sits the pink Hanako. The tea set and the table looks cute, as well as practical, painted red with a floral motif. It looks odd when contrasted with Lily's plain but generally sophisticated-looking furniture, which leads me to think that Hanako might have picked it out. There's a slight ting when Hanako accidentally clips the teapot on a cup as she's pouring. She breathes in sharply. She must have been really nervous. It's not the kind of thing anyone worry about. Hanako has already poured us tea. This is not our first teaing with Hanako, okay? We've already teed up Hanako. Come on, Hanako. This isn't my first rodeo. I would love to take you for a spin. Hanako quivers at her mistake. It's okay, Hanako. There's no need to be nervous. Hanako seems to find some confidence in Lily's reassuringly soft-spoken words, and deftly pours the next 2 cups. Here you are, Hisao, Lily. Hanako carefully places a cup and saucer in front of Lily and myself. I could get used to service like this. Thank you, Hanako. Yeah, thanks. You're welcome. Lily searches for her cup, and upon finding it, sips delicately. I do the same. The tea tastes somewhat better than the tea we usually have at school. This is nice. It's so different than any tea I've had before. Looks like you picked the right one, Hanako. You've done well, even if it was a bold move. Hanako's smile returns, redoubled. Even with her blighted face, her shy smile couldn't be called anything but cute. I'm glad you like it. Hanako, finally beginning to relax, sips from her cup. Something about this makes me think that about Lily's question at breakfast. Why am I friends with Hanako? Lily seems genuinely concerned for Hanako's well-being. It's not like I can do anything to help her. As far as I can tell, her scars don't hold her back physically, and everyone I've met seems to have overcome their disabilities to some extent. I don't have any ulterior motives to hang out with Hanako. We just share interests. You don't. But I do. Isn't that enough? So, Hisao, are you enjoying yourself? Lily's words break me out of my reverie, and I take a second to reconsider where I am. I'm in a room with 2 girls in their bedclothes. This is something to be enjoyed. Yeah, it's relaxing, almost like I'm not in the school anymore. You guys do this often? Quite often, but not as often as we take tea to the school building. Considering they do that nearly every day, it's not a big surprise. As I move to take another sip from my teacup, I find it sadly empty. That was delicious. Thank you, Hanako. Lily. You're welcome. Yes, you're most welcome, Hisao. It's nice to have a third person here. Anytime you need someone to fill this position, I'm always available. I'd love to fill many positions with the both of you. One must be sure to get one's point across in these circumstances. Lily lets loose a yawn she unsuccessfully hides with her hands. Pardon me, I think I'm a little tired. We just got here. I had 1 cup of tea and you're kicking me out already. Come on. We're not even gonna bang? Well, I guess we can all cuddle in your bed then. We should head to bed. We all have class tomorrow. Yeah, I should go. No. You should stay. Will you come again? Not even a whole army could stop me. I'm impressed by your determination, Isao. Either way, you're right. We best get going. I stand up and make for the door. Hanako gingerly stands up behind me. I stop and face her. You coming with me? Hanako instantly blossoms to full blush. No, this isn't my room. It's okay, I was only joking. Oh, okay, good night. Good night, Hanako. Good night, Hisao. Good night, all. And with that, our tea party finishes. This is a really short tea party. I'm not sure what it is that Lily wants me to do for Hanako, but I don't want to let her down. I waited until the door was closed behind us before turning to Hanako. Hey, Hanako, you know you don't have to be nervous around me or anything. I mean, we're friends, right? Right. Friends. If you ever want to hang out or anything, just let me know. We still have that chess rematch, remember? Sure. But I don't think you'll win. It won't be any fun if it was easy. Hanako seems to give a muted laugh, but she could have just as easily been exhaling. Good night, Hisao. With that, Hanako quickly retreats to her room located next to Lily's. I start to walk back to my dorm, but the simple act of walking seems to drain me of my energy. How easy would it be if Hanako weren't there to stay in Lily's room for that night? Yeah, I remember seeing that part of Katawa Shoujo. I believe it was called... Oh man, what was that horror movie called? Where a bunch of kids break into the blind guy's house. It was like Don't Breathe. It was okay. It was a pretty good horror movie, actually. I barely make it out of my room before I'm hit by a wave of exhaustion. I kick off my shoes, fall into bed, and fall asleep by the time my head hits the pillow. I pull my door closed, ready for another day of classes. It's Kenji. Yes, Kenji. Why do you say like a baby? They scream all night long. Well, there goes my restful state. I have to remember to never use figures of speeches with Kenji. Alright, get your point. It was a figure of speech. Sure, whatever. Where were you last night? I had a favor to ask you, but you weren't around. For a split second, I considered telling Kenji the truth, but I was spending the time with Lily and Hanako. Thankfully, that split second passes as soon as it came. I was just out, checking out the local area and stuff, you know, recon. Good, man, good. You were the type to plan ahead. Anyways, what was that favor you needed? I was gonna get some takeout, but I need change. What? I was starting to think you were cool. Kenji fishes around his pocket and produces his wallet. As he counts out the 400 yen he owes me, I clearly see at least 2 10,000 yen notes. Hey, why are you borrowing money off me when you got that much cash? Kenji hisses a little, realizing he's been had. Get off my case, man. It's bad luck to break a big note for anything less than half its value. It's the tycoon's rule. Is it the tycoon's rule? Why can't we date Kenji? Why would you want to date Kenji is a real question. Last night's dinner is going to cost me 7 years of bad luck. 7 years. Don't you think that's... Is there... Gamepad key map. Don't you think it's enough to help someone out? I'd get a shorter sentence if I just stole the stuff. My common sense screams at me to say something to him, but thankfully I restrained myself. Arguing a point like this with Kenji was just a lead on to further, more complicated discussions. Yeah, you're right. I've just got so much stuff to do, it's hard, but you're never around, anymore, so I'm on my own. We're supposed to be brothers. Yeah, I gotcha. Kenji draws close enough for me to get a clear whiff of his garlic-tainted breath. You better, man. You've already been spending less time here. That's the first thing they do. You're trying to split us up, divide and conquer. I've got to get going. You coming? No, I'm tired. I stayed up all night just to make sure nothing was going to happen. As rational as ever. Whatever. Night. Kenji scurries back to his room and I hear him throwing his locks as I walk down the hallway. That's why some people can't roll their tongue, or why their second toe is larger than their big toe. Mutuo beams a half-moon smile at us, obviously proud of his explanation of recessive genes. However, no matter how impressed he is at the science that defines who we are, the classroom seems to be reduced to a stupor. Why is it that a bad explanation can make even the most interesting theme scenes worthless? I can see Mutuo deflate as he realizes that nothing he said in the past half hour has sunk in. Stop right-clicking on the screen. Dang, Zenigami. Whispered conversations start to break the silence, and like an avalanche, the noise levels in the class start to rise. Defeated, Mutuo identifies some questions for the textbook and sets to clearing off the blackboard. Almost as if expected, Hanako packs up her things and leaves as soon as possible. As soon as people start talking and laughing among themselves. The initial shock of seeing someone play so blatantly truant has started to fade, but it doesn't stop me from wondering. Is she leaving because she doesn't want people to speak to her? Or is it just the thought of people around her shattering her peace? Before I can think about the topic any further, the lunch bell rings. I wonder if she was simply taking the opportunity to leave early. The usual clamor of students exchanging books for lunch reverberates around the room, and while Misha is distracted, I grab my lunch and head out the door. Lily already sits in the tea room setting out her lunch alone. So, Hanako's not here then? Oh, Hisao, how are you? I haven't met Hanako since this morning, I'm afraid. That's right, Hanako and Lily live right next to each other. Somehow I think their morning conversations are slightly more grounded than Kenji's ramblings. That's strange, she left class early. I figured she'd come here. She's still leaving class early. Huh? Yeah, I've seen her do it a few times. Lily drops her head a little and her tone of voice is notably depressed. It's very reminiscent of someone who's used to hearing bad news. I was so sure she stopped doing that once you two became friends. Everyone has their own pace, I suppose. I was wondering that just the other day. Why did she leave? I'm not entirely sure myself. I personally think it's because she doesn't want to be put in a situation where she has to answer someone. I have a flashback to my first meeting with her when I thought she looked like a cornered animal. Maybe I wasn't far from the truth. But she seems fine talking to you, and with me, a bit. It's a little more complex than that. I imagine that the first thing most people ask her is about her scars. Hey, Lily. You want to know how I got these scars? She rarely talks about it with me, but I can tell she doesn't like to remember whatever happened back then. Leaving class and running away from discussions is her preemptive strike, if you know what I mean. So, when does that explain her talking to me? You said it yourself yesterday at breakfast. You tried to ignore her scars. Once she saw you weren't going to ask her about that, she opened herself up to you. I guess you're right. Maybe, I don't know. You know her better than I, so I'll take your word for it. I wouldn't worry about that. I'm sure you'll come to know her as well as I do soon enough. I welcome the prospect of her having a new friend, and the two of you have such similar interests. Well, I hardly count reading as a team sport. It's good to have company, though. That's my point. Hanako is still an average person at heart. She also wants company at times like that. I see. To be honest, both of you still confuse me a little. It's only natural, Hisao. We've only known each other for a little while. It's unreasonable to expect you to understand us just as we can't understand you. It's half the fun of becoming friends, right? Yes, it is. Although I suppose there is a matter of us being opposite genders. She says that with a giggle, finding amusement at the odd little details of life. I hope you don't mind, but I'm gonna start eating. No, go ahead, I think I'll eat too. I've got some books I want to drop back at the library before classes start, so I'd better get a move on. You'll probably find Hanako there as well. If you see her, can you tell her to stop by my room later tonight? I'd like to talk with her.
Hola.
Hola! Welcome home. You're not coming? Hisao asks. Unfortunately, I have a class representative meeting later, so I'll be gone as soon as I finish my lunch. Okay then. If I don't see her in the library, then I'll tell her in class. I'm sure she'll be back after lunch. Are you gonna go to sleep now?
I wanna boop your nose.
Are you gonna go to sleep now?
I don't know.
Yeah, you are. Chat says welcome home, Janice.
Yay, thank you, chat.
We fall silent as we start to eat, and I take a second to reflect on our conversation. I've always thought that Hanako's shyness was simply due to her being self-conscious of her scars. Shout out GX. Gives you 100 bits, Janice. She says, oh yay. Thank you. Hee 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 hee. Hee 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 hee. Hee 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 hee. It's a pretty superficial way of looking at her. Just when I thought I was able to see through the fog of Lily and Hanako, I realized that I'm more lost than when I started. Lily quickly finishes her lunch, acutely aware of her meeting. I don't blame her. Shizune is most likely going to be there, and I doubt she wants to give her the satisfaction of another argument. I must be off. Same time tomorrow? Same time, same channel. I better head off too. I don't want to risk being late. Lily smiles gently, picks up her cane, and walks into the hallway. I turn my back on Lily as we head in opposite directions. For some reason, I find myself hoping she doesn't get into another fight with Shizune. As much as I like Lily, Shizune and Misha have been pretty instrumental to helping me adjust, even if half of our conversations were thinly veiled recruitment attempts. Then again, I barely know either of them. Maybe they were previously leaders of some kind of secret society, but their love for each other drove them apart. Man, I need to stop reading cheap fiction. It's rotting my brain. Either that or I've got to move away from Kenji. It's sad I can't tell the two apart anymore. I slide my books down the return chute and they crash into the cart with a pleasant thud. Yuko, however, doesn't seem impressed. Hisao, you scared me. Sorry, I thought you were used to that by now. Or is the literacy level here so low nobody borrows any books? Huh? I don't think anyone here can... I think everyone here can read fine. Never mind. There's some battles you can never win. Trying to explain jokes is one of them. My dad taught me the hard way. Say, Yuko, have you seen Hanako about? She left class early, but she wasn't in her usual hiding place. I think I saw her sneak in before lunch. I'm not supposed to tell anyone that. I just told you I saw her leave. No need to stress out. Of course, she's probably in the back. Thanks. Any new books? No, sorry. I'll let you know when we do. That's right. Good old Daddy-o. If there's one thing I know about librarians, part-time or otherwise, it's that they appreciate people who take a genuine interest in their work. Who doesn't? Who doesn't like when people take interest in things you like to? I walked the now familiar path to Hanako's reading nook, picked out a few titles along the way. Sometimes I find it hard to discover a book that will interest me among the shelves. An author's name and a two-word title doesn't mean much in a sea of similar words. For that reason, I sometimes reread books that I have read in the past. Better to bet on a favorite than a new runner. An unfamiliar title from a familiar author peeks out among the spines of its neighbors, so I remove it from the shelf. At least I'm going over old material. As expected, Hanako sits in her beanbag, buried deep in the copy of Dance, Dance, Dance. Dance, Dance, Ants in My Dance Pants. Hi, Hanako. I fight back the urge to ask why she left class early. If Lily's suspicions were right, then asking her about that would have the opposite effect. Best to leave it for the time being. Sometimes the best way to get an answer from someone is to never ask a question. Hi, Hisao, I'm fine. Something seems off, and after a couple seconds I realize what it is. Hanako's smiling. She looks as if she's pleased to see me. It's a nice change from the usual instinctively frightened reaction, and something I hope I can see more as we get to know each other even better. Good to hear. How's that book? It's good, I think. I've only just started it, so I don't really know. Fair enough. Let me know how it goes. I may borrow it once you're done. Sure. There's a good 15 minutes left in lunch. Not enough to really get into a book, but too much to stand around doing nothing. And Hanako's already returned to her reading, so I doubt I'll get much conversation from her. Oh well. Better make myself comfortable. I slouch into a beanbag and crack open my book. The familiar style of the author leaps out at me with the very first line. As the sentences turn into paragraphs, I start to relax a little. But no matter how I try, I can't seem to get myself into the atmosphere of the book. It's partially due to the lack of time, but more the distracting factor is Hanako. Every 10 or so seconds, she peers over her top of her book, but when our eyes meet, she quickly ducks behind its covers. So cute. I guess she did want to talk about something after all. What's up? You look like a prairie dog on lookout. It's nothing. I told you before, nothing means something when you say it like that. Hanako squirms a little in her beanbag, hoping that by changing her position, she'd find the words she's looking for. I was in an accident. Oh, shit. Oh, damn, I wasn't ready for this conversation. Accident? You thick bastard. Hanako shakes her head, her hair flowing around her shoulders in wisps of amethyst and a background of pale and dark flesh. No, when I was younger. Realization crashes onto me like a semi. And I had a semi, if you know what I mean. It's alright, Hanako, you don't have to tell me anything if you don't want to. She shakes her head. I have to tell you. When I was young, I was in a fire. I'm just imagining Hanako, like, sitting there drawing this out. I was in a fire. My house burned down. I nearly didn't make it. After that, I was alone. Hanako's eyes glistened in the dim light of the library, and I reached out to grasp her hand. It's okay, Hanako. You don't have to keep going. I have to. Why? What brought this on? Last night, Lily told me about your heart, and I didn't think it was fair. Fair? That I knew about you, but you didn't know about me. I squeezed Hanako's hand a little. Don't be silly, but yes, I do have a heart condition. I lean in a little closer to Hanako. What I didn't tell Lily is that I had my first heart attack when a girl confessed to me, and I'm ready for a second one. Hit me! I smile a little to break the tension. Really? Really. I haven't heard from her for a while, though, so I guess it's all over. I know it's all over. There's no other way to interpret what happened the last time I saw her. In some ways, not having heard from her again has helped me move on from that period of my life. So now we both know a little more about each other. We don't have to talk about things you don't want to. In fact, I feel a little bad even thinking about the whole incident. I can almost smell the hospital's disinfectant burning the back of my sinuses again. I imagine Hanako's going through the same thing now. When I was in the hospital, I went to the burn ward once, and only once. I was bored, so I walked through all the wards. I went through oncology and thought I could take it. But when I got to the burn ward, I turned around and went back to my bed. To think that Hanako would have spent months in a place like that, smelling nothing but corrupted skin, strong disinfectant, and sterilized air. Hit me with your best shot. The really bad cases were kept in isolated pods so that no foreign object could enter. That would have meant no reading. Wow, what an astute observation. I would have gone insane if I didn't have my books. And she was alone. Did her parents die? I'll have to ask Lily about it. I can imagine myself saying something dumb unintentionally. Thank you, Hisao. I haven't told many people about this. To be honest, I haven't told many people about my circumstances either. Then I won't tell anyone either. Deal. I changed my grip on Hanako's hand into a handshake as a warning bells chimed through the window. Shall we head back to class? Sure. Oh wow, next chapter already? That was a really short chapter. Did we even have any options? I don't know if we had any choices that entire chapter. I feel like it was short. Maybe we spent more time in the chapter yesterday, I remember. The tint of the room slowly changes from the shine of the afternoon to the orange of dusk. A clock lazily ticks away the seconds, counting in the background on the verge of hearing. But no matter how long I wait, the outcome cannot be changed. The diminutive playing piece makes a small click against the board. Like a wound spring, Hanako makes her move only moments after mine. It's embarrassing. In comparison to my 5-minute moves, she seems to know exactly what she wants to do. Mates! Okay, we'll do it. Oh, chess. What does that make this, 3-2? Stalemates don't count. You're getting better at this every day. that or she's been holding back. I never would have thought when I first met her, but she really has a knack for this game. Chess seems to have become a popular pastime for the two of us, hiding away in the tea room playing a game or two after classes. From here, the students outside can barely be heard milling about. The everyday noises from below remind me a little of my life before Yamaku, though I'm now well aware that it's a life I'll never get back to. Fancy another game? I have to finish my homework. Oh, well, see you tomorrow then. But what about this? Hanako points at a tea set surrounding the mostly empty chessboard. Don't worry about it, I got it. Okay. See ya. Later. Hanako departs as I start cleaning up the area. The occasional whistles and cheers from the sporting clubs outside become less frequent, eventually approaching silence. A part of me still wants to be in some kind of team. Since I played soccer and other sports before my accident, I guess it's only normal to feel nostalgic about what I can't do anymore. But I have other reasons than that for my coming here so often, and I don't feel so bad after losing that part of myself because of them. Lily is a good friend now, and it's the small exchanges I have with Hanako that feel especially dear. The small victories I feel every day as I see more of what she's like under her self-imposed shell. That's why I come here most of all. What's up, Sky Strife? As I'm putting away cups and saucers, I hear talking outside the door. Pausing for a moment to listen, I can make out that it's Hanako and Lily decide to go outside to investigate. Are you quite sure? I'm sure. The game's not banned on Twitch, although you can't show the nudie parts. So we skip over the nudie parts. Sorry, no boobs for you guys. Ah, Hisao. Hanako turns to me with a look of mild surprise as she noticed my approach. Lily must have caught her just as she was about to leave. Oh my, Hisao's here as well? Afternoon, Lily, what's up? I was hoping now that I finished my class representative duties for the day that I might have the two of you accompany me for tea at the Shanghai. It would be nice to enjoy ourselves outside of school for a change. I'd be up to it, but Hanako has work to do. It's not that much. Wonderful. Then let's go. Oh, we gotta go on 2 Shanghai dates this time. I cast my eyes across the cafe as the three of us step in. As usual, there's only a handful of people around at most, and the noise level is a quiet background hum. I keep licking my lips. They're chapped. The hold Lily has on Hanako's arm remains just as it has been the entire slow walk down the hill to the local town, though it's hard to say for which reason, for Lily's guidance, for Hanako's reassurance. For a moment, Lily removes her arm from Hanako to retract her cane, as Yuko quickly skitters over to where we stand, but soon replaces it right back to where it has been. Welcome to the Shanghai, may I take your order? She gives a deep bow, her well-deserved and professional introduction putting her in a good mood. It's a nice change for the norm from Yuko. Just tea, please. Hisao, Hanako. Oh, a slice of pie. Water is all the way outside, so it's not happening. Just tea, please. And by all the way outside, I mean like all the way outside my room. It's far too far away. Coming right up. Please take any seat you wish. Yuko gives a smile and a nod before shuffling to the counter, and we make our way to some empty seats by the window in quick measure. We slip into our seats, the girls on one side with Lily's cane propped up beside them and I on the other. I realize that Hanako's not doing something that she often does. Rather than keeping her eyes pinned to the ground and hiding behind her blind escort, busily trying to convince herself that the world around him doesn't exist, she's merely keeping her eyes low and helping Lily around. Are you okay, Lily? You look tired. She lowers her head a little, looking somewhat embarrassed that she let it show. Well, we've only done Emmy route either, so we're right there with you, Chris. Class representative work can be very tiring, considering that it often means dealing with the student council. Very tiring indeed. How do the other representatives go? Better than I, but not by much. Shizune is a harsh taskmaster, no matter whom she deals with. Doesn't sound like you particularly relish the job. Why do you do it in the first place? Being a class representative is enjoyable, and I can deal with the responsibility well enough. It's just that the people involved are sometimes... She trails off, cutting her words at a rather opportune spot. It's hard to imagine Lily cursing, but I imagine that if anyone could make her do it, it would be Shizune. Hanako looks be withering a bit in the light of such conflict, but before I can steer the topic away a little, she stands up. Hanako? I'll be back in a bit. With that, she leaves for the restrooms. I suppose that's one way to deal with the situation, if that is indeed her motivation. Lily, however, looks a little worried. Don't worry about it. I don't think it was you. But I think she was getting stronger recently. You've seen it yourself, right? Seen it. Unfortunately, Lily doesn't look offended. Look, by now I really shouldn't be quite so scared of stepping on that landmine around her. Yeah, I should be scared about stepping around landmines around Emmy. Possibly, sometimes. I find it hard to tell, though. Silence reigns for a moment before 2 teacups, a pie, and a mug of steaming coffee appears in front of us. I notice that Yuko takes special care to place the teacup against the tip of Lily's fingers, letting her know where it is. Here you go. Thanks, Yuko. Thank you. With a quick and silent bow, the bespectacled waitress takes her leave. Ah, that's right. I was meaning to ask you something, and now would be the right time to do so. I'm all ears. Hanako's birthday is coming up, and I was hoping that you might accompany me for present shopping in the city this weekend. Hanako's birthday is soon. I suppose it'd be nice to cheer her up a bit. Like Yuko, she always seems to be teetering on the edge of either panic or depression. I've never seen her enjoy herself as much outside of her chess games. All that aside, learning the layout of the city better with a friend helping me sounds like a good way to spend a weekend. Sure, I'd be happy to. Have you got any plans for what to do for her birthday? A party? Come on now. Hanako being Hanako, perhaps a low-key affair would be best. Lily suddenly cuts herself short, leaving me to wonder why she brings her teacup to her lips. Leave me to wonder why as she brings her teacups to her lips and begins to sip. After a few seconds, I notice Hanako walking up to us over her shoulder. Lily's hearing must be very good indeed if it was the sound of the restaurant door opening that tipped her off. Hanako takes her seat once again and takes no time in drinking her tea. Soon the 3 of us are quietly eating and drinking as the sun sets. It's a nice way to spend the remainder of the day's light and makes me appreciative. The quiet and serene surroundings makes me appreciate the quiet and serene surroundings of Yamaku. I think I'm really beginning to like the life here, as isolated as it may be. I finish off the last of my coffee and rest the mug on a table while the other girls talk among themselves. The coffee here is a little bitter for my taste, but still quite good. Better than what I can make for myself. The girls' discussion is mainly focused on their respective reading preferences, which does give me a little curiosity about the related topic. Hey Hanako, I was just wondering, aside from chess and reading, do you have any other hobbies? She completely stops in her tracks, looking quite surprised that anyone would be interested in talking about such a question with her. It takes her a little time to formulate a response. I guess I like singing a little. I'm okay with computers. I don't use them all that much. Singing is not exactly something I expected to hear. It's hard to imagine her singing voice, given how soft-spoken she is. Lily, on the other hand, simply nods. She must already know all this, since she's been friends with Hanako for 1 year or so by now. 7 out of 10 is going to be quite the meme for a while. About that, me? She hesitates before quickly flicking her head up and down. It's only logical that she'd want me to talk about my hobbies after all, after she told me hers. There's chess, but also there was soccer, though I can't really do that anymore. Reading, which I picked up in the hospital. This is surprisingly hard. Then I looked up from my pants. Lily and Hanako look a little put off by the direction that this is taking, and the more I think about it, the more I am too. It sounds like you've picked up quite a few things since your accident. Lily's candor is coated with probably the most positive spin one can put on what I said. Hanako, however, is silent. If a situation becomes difficult, her reaction always seems to be withdrawing into silence in order to prevent things from getting worse. That, or physically retreating. A soft ringing gives me pause. As Lily reaches into her pocket, it becomes obvious that the sound's coming from her phone. Sorry. It's okay. Lily quickly gives a nod before heading out, shuffling out of her seat and taking a call a little distance away to avoid disturbing the both of us. What's up, Almine Daiki? How you doing, dude? Must be popular. Must be nice to be popular. Hanako smiles but doesn't look up. Doesn't take up the hook for further discussion. I end up just sitting back and closing my eyes, relaxing as best I can. It's nice and peaceful here. I wonder what it'd be like to have grown up somewhere like this rather than in the city. You're from the city? Looks like I found something she wants to talk about. Yeah, you could say I was a city kid through and through. It looks like a lot has changed. It did. I'm not quite sure what to make of it, though. It's a bit of a culture shock in more ways than one. You must have gone through some things like this when you first arrived in Yamaku, right? I imagine most new students would. Not really. Hanako gazes a little to the side, looking unwilling to go on. I tilt my head inquisitively, but a couple seconds pass with no further answer. Can't we deal with that Monday? The file has already settled from the last. I understand. I'll try to talk her down. You know what she's like when she gets locked onto an idea. I really like this drawing. It was a nice one. Thank you. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Lily's conversation ends with a snap at her phone closing. Flip phones. This was made 5 years ago? Need to go? Unfortunately, class representative work calls once again. Can I come with you? It's alright, Hanako. I'll just be going straight to the student council. There's no need to spoil a fine evening on my account. Besides, if you were to accompany me on the way back to school, who would keep our poor Hisao company? Okay. I can join you for tea again later tonight if you like. I may well need it. We agree on that plan, and Lily says her farewells to the both of us, taking her cane after Hanako passes it to her. Yep, Sanji and Gear 4 coming out on Global on the 24th. Hey, look at that. Despite my offer to pay for Lily's share, she insists on giving us her portion of the bill and gives her regards to Yuko as she takes her leave. Then we're alone. It may be all well and good to leave Hanako and me alone to have some time together, but it all typically means is the two of us sitting near each other in silence for a while. I wonder what I must look like to Hanako. I never thought of myself as a scary person, but to have someone my own age acting this way around me makes me intensely self-aware, as if it's my fault she's not so troubled. She might get more used to people if she were to stop being so cloistered in Yamaku. But then again, when even people much older than her react so strongly after a single glance at her face, she may as well feel the same way as I do now. It's a real catch-22. If she stays in Yamaku, she won't get used to socializing. But if she leaves, any effort might try to get thrown back at her by the people who can't deal with her scarring. Want to order something else to keep us going? We haven't had much for a dinner. Hanako brightens and nods vigorously. Glad that I brought up the topic for her. I catch Yuko's gaze. She dutifully comes over to take our orders. Would you like something else? Just have a sandwich special and a hot chocolate. Bit late for coffee now, Hanako. I'll have the same. With a nod and a bow, Yuko turns on the ball of her foot and returns behind the counter where she busies herself, fishing out bread and condiments and working the machine to make our drinks. Not a word is said between us until Yuko comes back. She smiles and gives us our food and drinks before moving to a customer who's called for her attention. I give up on the prospect of having much of a conversation with my companion and decide to enjoy the meal, small as it may be. It tastes nice, as does most of the food here. After having a few mouthfuls, I notice something's missing, the sound of Hanako eating. Looking backward, I see Hanako's fidgeting a little behind her untouched sandwich. Not hungry? She shakes her head side to side. Even as she does, the patch of her hair she keeps over the right side of her face still does its job hiding it almost entirely. It's not that. I was ready to have your share too. You look troubled. Is something wrong? I'm startled by her thinking that I'm the one who looks troubled, but on second thought she's probably right. My face may have given away my emotions without me noticing. She's hardly a dim person, quite the opposite. We're friends, right? Friends. From the tone of her voice and shrinking posture, it looks as though I've hit yet another landmine. This is another reason why interacting with her is difficult. The self-imposed psychological barrier she puts up between herself and others, including me, and most likely even Lily. We kind of said that we didn't have money to go out, but we also don't know if it was yesterday or if like more than a day passed. I think we're friends. I was taken a little off guard by Hanako's straightforward answer. All the more so since I was about to give up on getting a reply at all. I see. Am I wrong? Sorry. It's just hearing confirmation from you is reassuring. To pick up on what you said earlier, since coming to Yamaku, I've been a bit uneasy about how I should relate with others. I find myself chuckling a little. It's surprising how much of a relief that was. I can feel my face smiling as I pick up my cup of hot chocolate and bring it to my lips. That's hot. Yeah, it's 50% of what it is. The other half is chocolate. That's why I haven't eaten yet. I was waiting for my foods and drinks to cool down, or my drink to cool down first. I guess I'll wait then. The both of us share a little chuckle. The situation isn't really that funny, but for some reason it feels like laughing is the most natural thing to do right now. I guess we're both a bit wound up. We were both a bit wound up about each other. I was so busy thinking Hanako was the one with something wrong, it took her to remind me that I was uneasy as well. But be that as it may, it still feels a little nice to have someone thinking about me like that in her own way. Following a long, quiet trudge up the hill and into the school grounds, the two of us find ourselves between the two dormitories. Regular night patrols pass between the male and female dormitory buildings, both for security and to quickly raise the alarm for any medical issues that may arise. The guard currently on duty notices us, give us a quick nod as he continues on his way. A loud yawn escapes from Hanako's mouth before she has a chance to cover it. I have little doubt she's fairly tired by now. I'd better be off to my room then. See you later, Hanako. Hanako's gotta stay up late to do her homework. Good night. We separate and begin our walk our separate ways before I stop and look back. Hanako stands there waving to me as she smiles. I smile and wave back to her, and after a few seconds she turns and walks up the stairs to her dormitory building, disappearing through the door. These little moments we share between us feel like a small treasure. One thing is sure, I want to protect that small, delicate smile she so fleetingly wears around so few people. I wonder about these feelings I have when Hanako's around and when I'm able to do things for her. Whether they may be the seed for something beyond what we share now. Okay. I'm gonna get some water. We'll be right back. All right. Way better. One more. The summertime sun is something to be savored, but when combined with the clean country air, it's all the better. The track and field club members are horsing around in the field ahead. Some are playing with a soccer ball, others are talking, and a few laugh as the two of them mock fight with each other. None of them pay me any heed as I sit alone in the grass underneath the shade of a particularly large tree. It's a nice and peaceful moment after a dreary day of schoolwork. I played soccer pretty often before my heart attack, so I thought it would be I thought it'd be really nostalgic to watch them. What I'm feeling now, though, is quite distinct from that emotion. Oh! Hello there, new girl. This is the one-armed girl. We haven't actually talked to her yet. I hear footsteps approaching from behind me. I turn to my side to see one of my classmates taking a seat beside me. I'm taking off guard as the two of us hadn't talked much before, and I don't think anyone noticed me here. Sup? Oh, we know her name. Hi. Mira, was it? Just call me Mickey. Surnames are too stuffy. Likewise, then. Call me Mickey, too. We both look back out to the field where the guys are playing. It looks like they're getting ready to have a second game, with people spreading out to their positions, and the ball being carried to the center of the field. This girl, I really like this girl. This girl's super cute. Sure enough, the whistle is blown to begin the match, and they get right back into it. Not gonna play? Nah, I'm just gonna rest for a bit. What about you? You kinda look like you wanted to play when you were watching us before. So, someone did notice me after all. It's kind of a long story. Her face says I've piqued her interest. I'm in Yanaku because I have a heart condition. Can't play soccer anymore. Wanted to be a soccer player, did you? Nah, I only really did it for fun. My friends played it, so I played it as well. And those guys playing around could have been me before my accident, but I don't feel like I have any real wish to go back to that either. It's a little hard to explain. I'm still decently physically built for the days when I played, even if my strength largely left me by now, and I got on well with the other club members. When I think about it, I should feel pretty bad watching people play when I can't anymore, yet I don't. Maybe it's a good thing, a sign I've gotten over it, and I'm ready to become a new person. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling. That's cool. I'm actually glad to hear that. Sounds like you've got your stuff together. Some of the people that come to Yamaku are pretty messed up at first. So you're in track and field. Yep, been in it since I first arrived. Don't suppose you're friends with Emmy? Short, fast runner, no legs. Emmy. Everyone knows about her, don't they? Nah, I tend to get on better with guys, so me and Emmy don't really talk much. What about you? I'm not really in any clubs. Not any real clubs. You've been hanging out with Hanako and that blonde Amazon. Blonde Amazon? I suppose Lily has the height to fit that description. If anything else, I nod. If nothing else, I nod in response without making too fine a point of things. Then don't worry about it. As long as you're got some friends, you don't need to join a club. Sub hardcore exism. A loud whistling from the field attracts our attention. One of the players is on the ground clutching his leg. The other stopped play to jog up to him, leaving Mickey grimacing. Ouch, that looks painful. That guy has bad luck. As she continues to look out onto the field, I can't help but being reminded of her own injuries. Her left arm, ending in a stump, has been bandaged up for the entire time I've been in Yamaku. Her injury doesn't seem that new. Yeah. She turns to talk to me again and catches me looking. Both of us sit in awkward silence as she takes her bandaged arm and holds it on her lap with her other remaining hand. Sorry, it's fine, really. Her tone is light, but neither of us say anything afterwards. Every disabled student has their own way of dealing with their problems, and some find their conditions troublesome. I'm included in one of that. After all, I'm just bad at reading. The injured guy from the soccer game manages to get onto his feet with some help and ends up hobbling off the field with one arm over the shoulder of another for support. Probably just pulled a muscle if he can still manage to walk. The whistle blows again and the game continues once more with one less man on the field. Hanging out with Hanako and that blonde girl, you keep some pretty strange company. How so? It's just that Hanako's kind of, shy? It's not that, it's just she's got some issues, I think. I can't really put it in a nice way. Not I don't think she's a nice person. She's perfectly nice. Just hard to deal with. Sounds like Miki, or at least some of the other people in the class, have tried to get closer to Hanako in the past, and it didn't go well. I think her judgment is rather harsh, given that everyone, not just those in Yamaku, have their own issues. Then again, I haven't known Hanako for that long, so it wouldn't surprise me if there was some stuff I didn't know. Just take it as it comes. She's a nice person. I think that should be all that matters. Miki's eyes narrow a little and her smile spreads. You really like her, don't you? Yeah. We're gonna say we like her. To be completely honest, yeah, I do. I'd appreciate it if you didn't tell anyone. Whoa, you can trust me, no problems there. To be honest, I think it's kind of cute. If you want to go for it, don't let me stop you. Thanks. She must say that she was just talking about Hanako having issues. Still, I want to hold myself to the words I said. Hanako's problems don't matter. I'll deal with anything that comes up because I want to help her. If there's even the smallest possibility that I can pull Hanako out of her depression and seclusion, then I should work towards that no matter what. If she needs a prince, then I'll be that prince. As I think about the possibility of a relationship, I see Miki grinning at me while watching my face. I'm no doubt blushing, and looking away from her only makes her laugh. Miki gives off a different vibe from the other girls. Talking to her feels more like talking to a guy than a woman. Her saying she prefers male company doesn't help to dispel that notion either. Glancing at my watch shows that lunch break is ending in only a few minutes. Time to start heading back to class. Lunch is about to end. Want to head back? Yeah, we better. I pick myself off the grass and dust myself off, offering a hand to Miki to help her up as well. She takes it and easily pulls herself up, showing the muscles moving in her toned, bare bottom. Miki's a cutie. Come to think of it, why aren't you wearing a normal girl's blouse? It's too hot and constricting. The boy's uniform is way better. Is she... Oh, just the blouse. Okay, she's still. I was like, she's still wearing the skirt, just the top. She throws her arms around to emphasize her point, which has the side effect of showing off one particular part of her body that will be especially constricted by the blouse. Yeah. The two of us start to walk back to the main building, through the gardens, talking as we go. It sounds like you're settling in well. That's a relief. It was pretty surprising to get a transfer student at this point of the year, considering exams are coming up. Don't remind me. Ha, don't worry about them. Just cram it and you'll be fine. Well, I mean, like we did stare at Lily's boobs earlier, so... What can I say? I like them boobies. She claps my shoulders a couple of times as she grins. I don't think she takes school very seriously. You seem like a smart guy and Muto's taken to you already. You're like a hand in a glove. Just one hand in one glove. Now to work out whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I still don't know what to make of this school. I've been here a few weeks already. I still feel dazed at times. You'll get used to it. Just give it some time. It's only a high school, just like any other. You make it sound so simple, but I've never thought of it that way. To me, Yamaku symbolized a marked shift in my life. I was no longer normal. I was different. And it was to be educated with other different people. And yet, I'm walking back to class and talking casually with a classmate during lunch, after watching some others play a soccer game. All perfectly normal. Maybe she has a point. Maybe I should look at Hanako in the same way. Everyone has their own issues, which is hardly something unique to Yamaku. After all, it's only a high school, just like any other. As we continue to talk, I find myself smiling. Miki and I are very different people in almost every way, but it feels good to have gotten to know another classmate a bit better. That's it. That's just our talk with Miki.